What's up, you? I'm talking to you specifically. How are you doing? You doing okay? Seriously asking. If the answer is no, how do we fix that? The key to surviving all of this is creating a sense of normalcy in the midst of all of these changes. Like Sandra Bullock in Gravity. Just let George Clooney go and concentrate on getting back in the capsule and on land, girl! So what do you need? Need like a berry smoothie? Something stronger? Hey, time has no meaning in the isolation void, so it's happy hour all day if you want it to be. Just do it responsibly, because you know your fam is going to FaceTime you at some point, and the last thing you want is drunk face. That's not helping, Gam Gam. She's getting worried. There's lots of ways to pass the time here in the corona apocalypse, and as a sidebar here, the word apocalypse actually, technically, biblically, is a Greek word from the Latin that means revelation. So technically, actually, biblically, not the end of the world, just a change in how we perceive it. Double so, this is actually kind of an apocalypse right now. Except instead of Mad Max gear, we're in home pants and robes and nobody can judge us for having a shot before noon. Some of us have been preparing for this our whole lives. So in times like these, look to the indoor kids, the asthmatics that never ran track or went camping because allergies, the introverts who hung in the back of the class and doodled, the sexy computer nerds who coded when the rest of y'all made out the sweetheart dance. And I'm sure all of them are doing okay and would love to bring you in to that secret that's been getting them through the hard times like it has been doing their whole lives. Grinding on some fucking games! Games! Larks! Whimsies! Merriments! It goes back a long way, thousands of years ago. The earliest game gear they found so far are these 5,000-year-old carved and painted stones from Turkey. The oldest board game ever found, so far as we know of, looking at you, Stargate, is an Egyptian game called Senet, which is kind of translates to the game of passing. It's 3 rows of 10, it's a grid game with 2 sets of 5 pawns, and that's kind of all we actually know. Historians figured out kind of close to maybe the rules, but there was no instruction book, so they have no idea how the actual game is played, which is why you save the book. Knucklebones was also super popular in the before times. You know it as jacks. It's called knucklebones because the pieces were made from the talus or knuckle bones of sheep, so that's pretty metal. Tic-tac-toe goes back to 1300 BC in Egypt, but the Romans stole it, like everything else, and renamed it Turni Lapili, which means 3 pebbles at a time. And now we rock it on restaurant tablecloths, and if your restaurant does not offer crayons, we will bring them ourselves. Fuck you! Back in medieval India, they were all jamming on a crazy little crazy craze, kind of like Pogs, but do we want to remember Pogs? Fuck it. The game was a cross and circle game where you run around the board based on how you rolled these shells. The largest number you can roll being 25, which in Hindi is Pachis, which is where it gets its name, Pachisi. Checkers goes back to the Mesopotamians. Chess goes back to this Indian game, Chaturanga. It means 4 limbs. Yes, it's a yoga thing too. Yes, there are online yoga classes going on. You can be doing that too. One of those no-good new kids on the block is a little game called Monopoly, even though it seems like it's been around since before humans. It's based on a 1903 game called The Landlord's Game, created by American anti-monopolist Lizzie Magie, who made it as a way to say, fuck you, to the single tax theory, so think about that. The simple act of playing Monopoly is a political statement against concentrating lands into a private monopoly. You're so fucking smart! In 1943, Anthony E. Pratt, a British musician, oh swoon, came around with a murder mystery game called Murder, and he and his wife sold it to Waddingtons, and then they renamed it Cluedo, a slam together of Clue and Ludo, which was the British word for Parcheesi, back around. These days, there's board games that go beyond cards and dice, where you can make a whole person, or a sexy elf, and fight monsters, zombies, even Hitler. And you can thank Gary Gygax for that, because he got serious in 1974 and adapted his buddy Jeff Perrin's game Chainmail into a crazy-ass fantasy game with dragons and dungeons. All these games and a bunch of even crazier, snazzier, Batmanier board games are all available online in some way. So jump online and roll some bones. Maybe you'll find me. I'm around. And yeah, I know we didn't talk video games. We'll do that tomorrow. We got nothing but time in the game apocalypse.